there's so many fiqh questions. What's the most common question people ask?
Ya Ali, is it kufr, shirk?
I'm going to ask you a question based just on that.
Some of the most frequently asked questions. Can Muslims watch movies with haram scenes if they skip them?
Well, you see,
A restaurant or a halal butcher shop and there's a sign that says halal.
we have two subjects here.
What I find annoying on Ahkam SOS is the dream questions. Oh, I had this dream or I had that dream.
But come on, dreams are interesting though.
We're not dream interpreters.
And you ever end up getting someone who disagrees with your answer?
You see, we are fallible. Allah is the one who made us, brought us this life. So he deserves to be more obeyed with his laws and legislations.
Why do we have maraja with different conclusions?
What is the strangest question that you've been asked?
Oh my God.
Our Prophet said, Muhsin, he knows.
Oh man. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Shia Vibes podcast, the podcast that discusses different topics, themes and subjects around the Shia community. Tonight, inshallah, we have a very, very familiar face on Imam Hussein TV, one that I had the pleasure to work with on over 20 seasons. And tonight, inshallah, we'll be tackling the most common ahkam questions that come up, and also to discover and work around other questions that may be very, very beneficial and maybe confusing that need clarification. Without further ado, let us welcome our dear brother, our dear teacher, and arguably the resident alim here at Imam Hussein TV, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you? It's nice to see you, Sheikhna, once again.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. How you been?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Also joining us is my co-host and brother in faith, Mr. Bollywood, South London's finest, Saif Ali Khan.
This Mr. Bollywood needs to stop.
Your name is Saif Ali Khan.
Yeah, this is my
You know
mom's
what I
fault.
mean?
But alhamdulillah, you guys seem to have a fantastic
Me
relationship.
and-
I'm third wheeling here, aren't I?
Arguably, but me and Sheikh are way back.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, we've done a lot of filming together. We've been working together since 2017.
Exactly.
Almost 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you remember when we first started Ahkam SOS?
Yes.
With the purple background and
It was pre-recorded.
yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be pre-recorded.
It wasn't
back
live.
then until we went live. But Sheikhna, we've invited you to the podcast because there's so many fiqh questions that people have. There's a lot of fiqh questions that come up regularly, and we thought that it would be great to have you on the show. Maybe discuss some of these answers and maybe go into a bit more detail than normal, because on the show I know you've got hundreds of questions to get through. But tonight, inshallah, we'll have a look at some questions, go into detail why the ruling is like this, and maybe what about, if the situation goes this way or that way, a bit of clarification, and also a bit more detail, inshallah. Are you ready?
Inshallah.
So if you've got any questions you want to ask.
Well, to
This
be
is the
honest,
time.
I
Any
know
fiqh
you
questions?
had your show, and I really want to jump straight into it. Especially considering it's live now, you must get put on the spot. But what is like the strangest question that you've been asked?
Oh my God.
Well,
Going
I
straight
think
into
our
it.
Prophet said, Muhsin, he knows very well.
Oh,
The laugh says a lot.
There was once, right, we got a question. I can't go into too much detail because it was a bit, let's say, taboo. But it was a sister messaged in regards, she's having marital problems and she was asking in regards to her husband cross-dressing for her. And if that's going to, yeah, you could imagine, because I didn't pre-read the question on the episode. So it's the first time I'm reading the question on a live television show, and I was fighting to keep my face serious because I couldn't stop. It was so funny. And Sheikh, do you remember the question?
Yes.
Sheikh,
No.
that is probably the most weird or strange or interesting questions that we have had. And even I remember the Sheikh looking at me like, what is this like? And I was just there fighting my laughter. It was pretty bad, that one.
It sounds interesting. Was it a live show, by the way? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
but Sheikh, what I find annoying on Ahkam SOS is the dream questions. They ask, I had this dream or I had that dream.
But come on, dreams are interesting though.
we have in the Holy Quran dreams of the prophets that came true, like Yusuf alayhi salam, when he saw when he saw the dream of prostration of his brothers and parents towards him, and then he became, of course, in Egypt, some kind of position, minister in Egypt, and the dream of the king of Egypt, the pharaoh, in that time, again, he interpreted the dream, and of course, that was as a result of this dream, 14 years of economical changes.
Yeah.
So you can see sometimes the dreams come true, but of course the dreams of the prophets is something that cannot be said this is not true.
We're not dream interpreters.
Exactly. That's why I say always, and be honest with my viewers and audience, that we cannot interpret. That's not our field. It's a separate field. Somebody who has deep knowledge in, I don't know how they study the dreams. They can define, for example, if somebody, let's say, sees himself drowning, has got a specific interpretation, for example, or flying, for example. So it's a completely different field.
It's a different science, a different discipline. Me and Sheikh, we deal with, well, at the time, because obviously it's now Sayyid Muthanna. Big shout out to Sayyid Muthanna. But we deal with fiqh, you know? We deal with what Maraja say. And by the way, Sheikh, we do more than one marja, don't we?
Yes.
There's like a range that we can discuss from. Sheikh, I've prepared some of the most frequently asked questions on your show, and inshallah we can go through some of them with your permission. Here we go. Bismillah. Can Muslims watch movies or shows with haram scenes if they skip them?
Well, you see, I mean, if somebody wants to watch one of those movies that made by Hollywood, for example, you probably would expect some indecent scenes, definitely. So if you want to skip them, you have to see them first. That's the problem. That first scene is an issue because you know it. Because unintentional scenes is fine. I walk in the streets in the middle of July and August, and I see something, and I lower my gaze, as the Quran says, that tell the believing men to lower their gaze. So I lower my gaze, and I get a reward, inshallah, for this lowering my gaze. But sometimes I know something is expecting to be viewed and to be seen on the TV. So it's better to avoid it. That's the best thing.
Do we not end up in a position where we can't realistically watch anything?
I guess you can watch, but you're not going to enjoy it because you have to cut out all of these.
No, but even then, like for example, I'm just thinking of a common movie.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, but I mean, he's doing lots of cocaine and stuff in it. But
go watch that.
I mean, you're gonna have to skip this. I think 3-hour movie. You watch like 5 minutes of it.
You know what, Shane? It might be actually a good time to discuss men and hijab, because men's hijab is never talked about. It's always the lady shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that and stuff. But men also have act to play with modesty, dressing modestly. And is there anything in fiqh in regards to having different hairstyles or different beard styles, or is there any fashion which is not allowed for men?
As you mentioned, yes, in terms of shaving one's beard, for example, is not permissible. Again, to look like the woman, the female, is not allowed. This is the main subject in the fiqh.
So you're talking about, again, your eyebrows done, eyelashes long and
Exactly. So, and shaving, clean shave, for example. Alhamdulillah, now things different from our generation in the 90s, where everyone most people used to shave, but now it's some kind of
fashion.
Quite fashionable, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
With this sort of thing, you obviously get asked loads and loads of questions about different parts of the fiqh. Have you ever been given like a leading question? Because I feel a lot of the time someone has an answer that they're trying to achieve. Like, for example, let's just say I wanted to get a tattoo. So I asked the question in a manner that I'm trying to push you towards a certain answer.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that? And do you ever end up getting someone who disagrees with your answer? Like they'll come and ask you the question, but because you answered something they didn't want, they either argue with you or they go and find a different scholar to speak to.
You see, we are fallible creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. So we can't be, nobody will be with your opinions 100%. Even maybe your marja. If your marja says, for example, that all music haram, all types of music, as we have some ulama, then you have to stop listening even to classical music. So you have to turn down the volume down when you see your kids are watching cartoon. Baba, turn off, it's music. So even you might not really listen to or follow your marja's opinion in some cases. So it's open to us. As I've said again, if I can observe piety in this way, at least ihtiyat, at least take the precaution side. So we never know. We're going to be questioned in our graves for what we did and what we believed in. So it's important that we follow the rules. As I've said before to many of my viewers, that as we follow the rules of the land, traffic system, education, marital issues in this country and other countries, Allah is the one who made us, brought us this life. So He deserves to be more obeyed and respected with His laws and legislations.
Sorry, a really silly question came in my head. I have to ask it because you mentioned traffic laws. If someone's doing 33 miles an hour in a 30 zone, does that become haram? Like, does that become an issue that they should concern? Am I like genuinely, because he mentioned laws of the land, traffic?
I know there are some Maraja who say you obey the laws of the land.
Yeah.
And there's other Maraja who totally disagree and be like, no, there's only one law, which is the Sharia law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as you're not breaking that, there's no issue.
Where do you sit in that? Because it sounds like a spectrum.
Where do you think I sit in?
One God. What about you, Sheikh?
No, I think the rule of reason plays a big role as well, because whatever the reason rules, the Sharia would rule as well. So if the reason says, the aql says that the dangerous driving would cause fatal or then it's not allowed. So the aql with Sharia would say both. Yes, you're not allowed to drive in a way that it could cause accident and cause damage.
What about drink driving? I'm joking. Sharing up one topic and one question that affects all of us day to day is when we go to a restaurant or a halal butcher shop and there's a sign that says halal, can we trust that the meat is 100% jaiz for us?
We have two subjects here. Number one is the hand of the Muslim and the market of the Muslims. So the hand of the Muslim, it means that if you take a portion of food, let's say chicken or meat, from a Muslim who is a Muslim, as a restaurant, as a, let's say, a work, for example, and he's a Muslim, he's practicing Islam, then the hands of the Muslim is hujjah, is a proof that it's halal. So that's number one.
So you're saying if it's a Muslim owner,
yes,
or you're in an area that these are all Muslims living in this area,
exactly,
and they're just handling, you can see that they're handling the meat,
exactly,
then it's okay. You don't really need to ask.
Yes.
You can see when a Muslim area, there's a Muslim behind the counter, it has to be halal.
And you have the market of the Muslims, Muslim shops, malls,
Muslim
and so forth. Again, is a hujjah.
If there's like a fast food chain, because they're typically going to hire random people from a very diverse background, but the fast food chain provides halal food, they've got the certificate, everything, is that something acceptable for us to eat, or should we take a bit of precaution?
Is the owner Muslim?
I don't know.
That's important.
It's a big franchise.
No.
I mean, it's KFC, to be honest.
Sometimes, yeah. Okay, let's say KFC. The owners of the company are not Muslim, but they have a certificate to say we went to this butcher, they provided the meat, and it's halal.
If you trust, you have itma'nan, assurance, you can eat, yeah. Otherwise, you have to search.
I'm stressing out for a second. So, like similar to what he was saying, what do you say to the people that, you get those people, they always have to go one step extra. They have to be more religious than the Maulana, for example, in the sense that they will say, okay, I've got a certificate, I've got this, I've got that, all the proof is there, but they'll, I don't know, they kind of want to be, not saying that they want to be better, but they need to one up, okay, yeah, but I know it's halal, but I don't eat there because it's not this board, it's not HMC, it's
HFA,
this or HFA or whatever it is. Those people that take,
they make it more difficult.
They make it more difficult than it needs to be.
I mean, it's their choice. As I've said, again, if you have that assurance and itma'nan, you can go ahead. Otherwise, if you think you're in doubt about their halal being and so forth, you can avoid this. It's up to you. Nobody can force you to eat from KFC, which is halal, for example. This branch is halal. You can avoid it. It's fine. I'll go to Pepe's, for example.
Yeah.
Instead.
This talk is making me hungry. Sheikh, I've got a question for you, by the way, because like we dug into this topic quite a lot, to be honest. But how do you remember everything? Because you mentioned there's quite a few different maraja. You study the rulings, right? How do you remember it all?
You see, number one, you have to have the love and passion towards the subject that you want to talk about or research or learn. This passion and love is important. So from my young age, I started to read fiqh books, study hawza. I went as well to study. So I studied lots of books about fiqh. Maybe, stacks of books. If I bring it now, it's going to be big stacks of books.
So you actually enjoy fiqh?
From Risala Amaliyah to Shara'i' to Lum'ah and other books. And Usul as well. So you have to have love and passion, number one. Number two, before number one, tawakkal Allah Azza wa Jal. Always seek Allah's assistance and support with this regard. And the love of Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. That's important before number one. And of course, I'm continuously and constantly listen to some of the Shar'i Masal, as I've said, from Najaf, read Masail Shar'iyya of different maraja, and even ask and contact some offices of the ulama with this regard. So I'm constant read and listening to the Masail Shar'iyya. So that's how I would.
Yes, indeed, Sheikhna. Funny, because I remember we used to get so many different questions coming in, and sometimes we're like, this particular marja, what does he say? And that particular marja. Why do we have maraja with different conclusions, different fatwa, Sheikh?
Because each sees, because we have the source, the Quran and the Sunnah and the Ahlulbayt's hadith. They see it in their own view, an opinion, when it comes to the hadith or the Holy Quran, for example. Again, the issue of the music, that is all music haram? So if I play, the piano keys, would that be haram? If I hear it, at least. So some would say even that is haram, not allowed, because these are parts of the instruments of music. So they would also make, at least as a precaution, haram. But others would say no, it's fine. Classical is fine. What is forbidden is the entertaining, like DJ, jazz, organ, and so forth. These are haram and forbidden. But the classicals.
So, like a lot of the people from my community follow Sayyid Sistani.
Yes.
What's his approach when it comes to music, and how do you classify? Because to be able to say something is haram, you must hear it, right? So how can I say, oh, actually that you can't listen to, this you can listen to?
It's very clear. There's a music, pop music, for example. You see the titles. It's very clear that this is the forbidden entertaining music, as the Sayyid mentions. Entertaining and non-entertaining. The entertaining is haram, and the classical is fine. So you can easily define. The titles are there. It's someone. There's a singer, for example, with a song of such and such titles. And it's very clear. This is entertaining music. Classical is the classical music which are played.
What about like in the background? Like I've noticed actually a bit of a trend. You got these sports pages, this like Muslim sports pages and stuff.
Okay.
And before they would have like nasheeds or latmiya or something like that in the background. Yeah, a lot of them would have that. But now I've noticed some of them would use not necessarily songs, like not musical songs, but like a bit of like a musical background to it. Or maybe like it'll be instrumental behind it. Is that something that would be acceptable? Or
again, if you go to the Sayyid Sistani again, with the issue of the classical music, he would allow it, but entertaining would not allow. But for example, Shirazi would say all types of music is haram, even the classical ones. So you go back to your own marja and apply the rulings of that marja. That's the difference.
Sheikhna, have you ever come across a fatwa? Don't need to mention the marja's name, but you think this is a bit strange, or this ruling is a bit weird, or I don't agree with this ruling. This ruling is absurd.
We might have some of the rulings which are a bit difficult to understand, but I can't mention it now. It's very sensitive. So yes, yeah,
that makes me more curious.
Yeah,
this is not the platform for that.
Exactly.
I know which one you're referring to.
Yes.
But I mean, there's some, I said Sadiq Shirazi, Hafadullah, who you follow, and so do I. His fasting fatwa that how can you open your fast during
That's an
daylight
interesting
hours? You know, I mean, since his fatwa was introduced, 3 other ayatollahs, 3 other maraja, or 3 other scholars have pushed that fatwa as well.
Yes.
Including Sheikh Hassan.
Sorry, there's more that allow the.
There's
You're
4
talking
now.
about the opening time for iftar, right?
Yeah. When the fast is more than 17 and a half hours, can you open your fast early? So there's a 20-hour fast, 22-hour fast. You know, so Maghrib is at like 10 o'clock at night, 11. Can you open your fast earlier? Now we have 4 scholars, including Sheikh Hassan.
Yes, indeed. These are, again, fatwa based on the research, in-depth research, extracted from the Sunnah and the Quran, the Hadith. And their findings and conclusion is that, of the Sayyid at least, and other Sada, that what does it mean that complete your fast till night?
Mm-hmm.
Which night is it? Can you call, for example, 3 or 4 hours worth of Scandinavian nights in summer as nights? So you have to fast 21 hours or 22 hours. That's not night. That's abnormal. He says you have to fast with normal hours, like the Middle East hours. Beyond that is abnormal. So you have to go back from abnormal to normal hours, which is 17.5 hours, for example.
A part of me wishes Sistani because the summer fasts are very, very difficult.
Sheikhna, like, what's your favorite topic in fiqh, or what questions do you like answering in fiqh? Like, is there a specific, for example, when I studied fiqh, my favorite topic was actually business and contract law. We studied from the book Tabsara Muta'allimin by Allama al-Hilli. That was really interesting. You know, the how to do like silent partner business, how to do 50-50 business, how to enter a contract, the 7 ways you can cancel a contract, things like that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. What about yourself, Sheikhna? What topic in fiqh do you actually really enjoy, or questions you enjoy answering in regards to fiqh?
It depends. I don't have really that specific interest for a topic. But in overall, as you've said, when I studied Hawza, there's a part in fiqh about the trade and commerce and transactions. I remember my teacher was an expert in fiqh. And we studied for the past 8 months, only 75 pages. He would go through each line for at least half an hour. Imagine. 75 pages of fiqh for 8 months. I was in depth study of the trade and when it comes to, for example, crops and the zakat and so forth. So it's a very deep. I attended a couple of sessions of masters in Islamic law.
Is this like a regular?
You cannot compare at all. The masters in Islamic law with Hawza studies at all. Hawza is very deep. It takes you to the end of the ocean of knowledge.
Is that something quite regular you've had to deal with? Because I'd imagine, like, being a Maulana, especially where there's tons of business going on, everyone's opening their own businesses and stuff, or trading. Is that something you've had to deal with regularly in terms of trying to resolve these situations?
Not that much, no. It depends. Could be 1 or 2 here and there. But
what about marriage law? That's probably
that's probably
every sheikh. You know, I feel bad for them. I have to become like relationship counselors and stuff like, and it's not even their field. I mean, it's understandable that a mu'ammam will give you, these are your Islamic rights, these are your Islamic rights, and this is what is incumbent upon you according to God's law, according to Sharia. But now they're coming, you know, like with, do you get Sheikhna? Do you have people bringing their marital problems to your doorstep, and you're like, I'm not even qualified to answer this? Like, this is silly. Like, you know, ask me fiqh questions. Don't ask me about, well, why is my husband arguing with me? I don't know. Like,
yes, I got often calls from some sisters, mainly about their marital issues and divorce and so forth. And I try to avoid it, to be honest, because that's not my expertise in terms of marital disputes, and try to resolve it. So I try to avoid the marriage contracts, nikah contracts, divorces, and getting حقوق شرعية and khums. I do احتياط. I wouldn't get involved in such things. It's a difficult subject to go through.
What's the most common question people ask you?
Ya Ali, is it kufr shirk?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask you a question based just on that. During Salah, obviously Wilaya is a very big part of our deen, Imamat, etc. In Salah, I do Taqleed of Sayyid Sistani. If I was to mention like Amir al-Mu'mineen or my Wilaya to Amir al-Mu'mineen, does that make my Salah batil?
Where, in what position?
For example, if I'm in
Tashahhud?
Tashahhud, and I say Ashhadu an la.
No, the Sayyid and other ulama wouldn't accept to add this part of the Shahada inside the Salah. It's addition, and that would cause an issue with the Salah. But Atul Shirazi has a fatwa that he says you can add this term after Tashahhud, the second Tashahhud, by saying وَأَنَّ عَلِيًّا نِعْمَ الْوَلِي. And I bet Ali is the praising. He praises the ni'mah of being a wali, vicegerent of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So other than that, they wouldn't accept. Ulama, many of them wouldn't accept to add this in Salah.
And what about if in the same, when after reciting Salah, they say وَأَجِّلْ فَرَجَهُمْ during the Salah?
But that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. It's a dua.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do 3 things in Salah: dua, Quran, and zikr. Other than that, you can't.
Sheikh, as a Sheikh, what fiqh questions do you ask your teachers, your fiqh teachers?
If a question I don't know, mainly it's about khumus. Maybe sometimes
you'll
calculations are a bit deep. Sometimes it's complex and it's difficult to calculate. Or let's say, for example, I'll give an example. I called one of the ulama and I said somebody gave deposit to the landlord before his khums due, and it was eventually cancelled, this contract, after a few months, and he got it back. So his khums was in the middle. So he had to pay the khums on this deposit, in other words. Although it was in the handle for the landlord.
Yes.
But the contract all cancelled, so he had to pay khums when he receives the money back.
Ouch.
So some questions a bit you need to ask and do more research. It's not easy.
I think you know what, you're right. I think with Islamic fiqh, when it comes to the math side, it needs a bit of time, and you have to really go through like everything, especially inheritance as well, and how many children there are, how many wives there are, and things like that.
And the shares of the heirs,
because it keeps changing.
So difficult.
It just keeps changing with every scenario. So yeah, that takes a lot of time. Sheikh, that is the end of our conversation. It was really good seeing you. Is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers who are watching? I think that's your camera over there. In regards to tonight's show.
Very important for every individual, be it a child in the discerning age, a youth or an adult, elderly, to learn 3 things. Number 1, aqa'id, belief in Allah Azza wa Jal, in the Holy Prophets and of Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. And ahkam, number 2, what is haram, what is wajib, and akhlaq, very important. 3 things, you have to have them. At least what you need.
Saif, anything you'd like to add?
I mean, after this conversation, definitely I want to try and learn a little bit more about fiqh. It sounds very intense.
Indeed. I would just like to say, if you have any fiqh questions, you can call Ahkam SOS every Monday and Wednesday still, Sheikh.
Thursdays.
Thursdays now.
Yes.
Thursdays. We don't need to know your name or where you're calling from. Just put in your question, and inshallah, the Sheikh will be more than happy to answer your questions on Ahkam SOS on Imam Hussein TV. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you very much, Saif. Thank you to all our viewers watching. Big shout out to our director, Muhammad Fahad, those behind the scenes, Muhammad Rida Maash, Salman Bai, Amir Raza, our technician, and also Hussein Sukhni, who couldn't make it today. But inshallah, we'll be back on the next episode. This has been the Shia Vibes. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.